Welcome to our show. This is Mary's Eclectic Interests, and I'm Juanita Hoff. We're very glad to have as guests here tonight, Will Phillips and Kate Schaefer. I'm going to let each of them introduce yourself a little bit to our wider audience and tell them about what your role at AARP is.
Juanita, thank you for having us here tonight. And I just want to also say that I'm volunteer state president of AARP, so that's a volunteer role. I work with our executive council as well as our staff at AARP to further the mission of the organization in our state.
And Will?
Sure. And it's great to be here. So I'm the state director for the organization. We have a team of 8 staff and then hundreds of volunteers across the state who again help us carry out the mission for the organization on behalf of our members. We've got about 670,000 members here in Minnesota.
Wow. Yep. As AARP, and you're being close to the top of it, you can certainly tell us about the different ways that AARP works out in our society.
Sure.
Now you said legislative, because that's going on right now. Why don't we start with that?
I think at our core we're a social impact advocacy organization. We're a nonpartisan organization. We don't have a PAC. We don't endorse candidates, but we do leverage the strength of our members who vote very regularly, very consistently, to advocate for things that will improve the lives of our members. So right now, as you mentioned, the state legislature's in session. They're on the home stretch, but there are some key issues that we're working on at the Capitol. One of which is around elder abuse. Folks might remember there was a Star Tribune series that ran a couple years ago about some just really horrific stories of abuse and neglect that were happening in nursing homes and assisted living facilities throughout our state. Things that just shouldn't happen anywhere, let alone in Minnesota as a state that prides ourselves as we do on so many things. And the reality is that there was a broken system at the state. They were failing to really investigate a lot of these claims. We've addressed a lot of that, but we really haven't addressed the root cause of the problem. Minnesota is the only state in the country that doesn't license assisted living facilities. People that fear abuse and neglect have no rights in terms of being able to appeal discharge, no protections against retaliation, and we don't fund protection nearly enough. And so we're working on legislation at the Capitol that would really address that root cause of that elder abuse. The state is still receiving 400 cases of abuse and neglect every week.
Wow.
And so we have to get to the root of that. The other primary issue that we're focused on at the Capitol is around the high cost of prescription drugs. And everywhere we go, we hear about the high cost of prescription drugs and what a challenge it is to pay. These are life-saving medications, but if you can't afford them, they're not so much. And so we're working on a number of approaches at the Capitol right now as part of a campaign to lower the cost of prescription drugs.
An important area, that's for sure.
Important areas, that's right.
I think you mentioned community engagement.
Sure.
Yeah, so we have community work that we're doing. In the Twin Cities, we're doing a lot around how we can help engage people more in activities that help them understand some of the issues that we face, but also connect with each other. And so we have movies for grown-ups. It's a great opportunity to come out and see a movie and learn a little bit more about what we're doing. We do events actually at tap rooms as well. And so we have people bring a food shelf donation, and then they get an opportunity to learn a little bit about how hunger impacts people of all ages, including older adults. But again, it's a great way to connect with community. And we do bike rides, we've done canoe rides. I mean, again, it's this, we are an active community, and this is a way to connect with other people who are also looking at ways that they want to create vibrant, active communities.
AARP puts on classes where you can get your insurance, your auto insurance down 10% if you take the class?
Absolutely.
So tell us about that.
Yeah. So we have driver safety classes which help people just update their skills and just make sure that they are driving safely, and so it does allow them to get a discount on their insurance but also learn some critical information to help them stay sharp.
Do you want to add anything?
Just that the driver safety program is all volunteer led. So the people who coordinate it across the state to all the instructors are volunteers. They have sites where you can take the class in person,
Uh-huh.
but then there's also an online course
Oh.
where you can take the full course as well as the refresher in person or online. And as Kate said, I think it's a great way to save a little money,
Right.
but it's also just a way to stay sharp behind the wheel.
Right.
And there's a new program that we're actually rolling out here called Smart Driver Tech. And it really is about learning about all the new technologies that are showing up in our cars.
Oh, wow.
Right? Our cars are talking to us
That's
now.
true.
They're braking for us automatically. They're letting us know when we're changing lanes when we
Right.
don't want to be, and all of those other things. And so we have a new curriculum called Smart Driver Tech that's really about making sure that people understand all the latest technology.
Right.
And when they're going to the car dealership to buy a new car, you know, it's not your father's Oldsmobile,
Right.
as they used to say.
We do also offer training for people on technology as well,
Oh.
and job search in the digital age.
Oh,
So
that
again,
would be important for a number of our audience.
yes.
What else does your group do?
Sure. I think one other area that we'll note is the work that we do to educate people about fraud. Older adults are a ripe target
Right.
for people who want to try to get their hands on your money. So they'll use any number of schemes and tactics, whether it's calling you up on the phone and pretending that they're your grandson in trouble in Mexico, to online dating schemes, to Jamaican lottery schemes, to, you know, it's something changing all the time. And so we have a nationwide Fraud Watch network that really is about educating people about the latest scams and frauds that are out there so that people can be armed and ready to protect themselves
Right.
and protect their hard-earned money. So we do presentations across the state, letting folks know about what's at stake and how to protect themselves. Because again, as we've heard, there was a famous bank robber once that said that the reason he robbed banks was because that's where the money is. And
Right,
so
right.
we know that the reason people prey on older
Right,
adults is because a
right.
lot of times there's a lot of trust there and there's money there. And so we all have to be well equipped
Oh,
to protect
definitely.
ourselves. So that Fraud Watch network is a big part of that.
Anything else you can want to share with what people can get involved with if they get involved with AARP?
So the other thing is we are also working with communities that are looking at ways that they can be livable and age friendly. So we know our population is aging,
Right.
and communities are looking at their whole infrastructure, their systems, their supports, trying to figure out how they can address the fact that they are going to have an aging population.
Right.
And so AARP uses some tools that were developed by the World Health Organization to help communities look at where they're at with a lot of these dimensions that are affiliated with livable communities as we age, and we work with those communities to help them look at how they can improve their communities to be ready for their aging population.
And your magazine, and I didn't know what to call the other, a brochure? Because we get
Bulletin?
I
Yes, the
get two
bulletin.
things. Bulletin, okay.
Yeah, the magazine and the bulletin.
I thought we should talk a little bit about them because they give a lot of good information.
Lots of good information. Yeah, the magazine is actually the most widely circulated magazine in the country, if you can believe it. It goes to all of our members, and then the bulletin is full of great substantive information, education about how to save money, education about the current issues that we're working on, and we'll also have information from time to time about what we're doing here in Minnesota as well. So those are great publications that help, really help us achieve that part of our mission, which is about education and empowerment.
You've got two sources that you give people to read. Could they be joint, or is it better for them to be the way you have them now?
Well, that decision is above my pay grade,
Okay.
I should say, Juanita. But if you think about the way that if you next time you get them,
Okay,
take
'cause
a
I
look
get
at
it.
them, and I think what you're going to see is that the magazine tends to be a little bit more about lifestyle.
Right.
There's generally a celebrity or a notable figure
Right.
on the cover, and it does kind of focus on some of those broader things that are a little more lifestyle related. While the
Right.
bulletin is a little more substantive. It comes out more regularly.
Oh, okay.
And the other difference between the bulletin and the magazine is that we get an opportunity to put content in the bulletin about things that are happening in Minnesota locally. And so that's one of the big differences
So there,
as well.
there you have a local part of it.
That's right. how to save money, education about the current issues that we're working on, and we'll also have information from time to time about what we're doing here in Minnesota as
Sure.
well. So those are great publications that help, really help us achieve that part of our mission, which is about education and empowerment.
We should put up a phone number or a website or something that tells people how to get in contact with you.
Yeah, it's aarp.org/mn.
Okay.
And I would say that also for people in the Twin Cities who are looking for events that we do,
Right.
The better place to go here in the Twin Cities is aarp.org/twincities.
Okay.
And there we'll have a pretty robust listing of events, everything from these caregiving conversations to the smart driver courses, to the free movie screenings that we put together, to the bike rides and canoe trips and the brewery events, and
Yeah, I didn't know you did all those.
all the things that we
Yeah.
do are
Okay.
going to be at aarp.org/twincities. Lots of fun events. They require registration,
Okay.
but they're all free, except for I think the driver safety course costs a little money, but nominal costs. And yeah, we'd love to see folks come out. So.
Yeah, come join us.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For sharing your time and your experiences and helping our audience learn a little bit about, or a lot about, AARP. And they should go to the two websites and learn more. We thank you for joining us on Mary's Eclectic Interests, and we hope that you'll join us again.
Hi, I'm Auntie Sharon, host of Mary's Eclectic Interests. We have a great show for you today. Today I have Gene Nicolelli with me, and he is a volunteer for AARP, AARP. And he's going to tell us about these seminars that he does for helping us to age in our home. Hi, Gene.
Hello, Sharon. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming, because I'm really interested in this, because I have a home and I need to know how to prepare it and get it ready for when I need it.
Wonderful. Hopefully we'll have some good ideas for you.
Well, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with AARP?
Well, I am an architect, and I'm licensed in Minnesota and California. I have over 40 years of experience in residential design and single-family and multifamily. I got interested in aging in place, we'll be talking about a number of years ago, and as I researched it, I found that AARP had a lot of good material and such like that. So that's kind of how I kind of got into it. I also, one other added thing is I am also a certified aging in place specialist.
What does that mean?
Well, basically, it's just some additional classes that you take and some tests that you take for certification that specializes more into the aging in place of the home, and what we'll be talking about is things that you can do and such like that. So just a little bit more knowledge-based.
Well, you talk about the aging in place. What does that all mean?
Aging in place is the ability to live in one's home and community in a safe, independent, and comfortable manner, regardless of your age, your income, or your ability.
Oh, okay. So turning my home into something that anybody can live into.
Absolutely. So it's the idea that it makes it more safe and more usable and more adaptable. But safe is the key.
Okay. I think you mentioned the word universal. What does that mean?
Universal, well, I'll tell you what, let me show you what I'm talking about, and then I'll tell you what it means. What we have here is a bottle opener, and we have a bottle opener. They both do the exact same thing. If you were given a choice, which one would you choose? Would you choose this one or this one?
Well, probably this one over this one, because it's bigger.
Okay. Why, and what else did you think?
Well, it's got a bigger opening,
Yep,
maybe easier to be able to open things with.
that is correct.
And it just feels better in the hand.
Absolutely. And would it be safe to say that someone, a small child, could use this and would understand basically how to open up that bottle with just that device versus maybe with that one that has two different ends and it's smaller or not quite knowing?
Definitely.
And then obviously, then somebody who's older, maybe in their late 70s, early 80s, where maybe they have arthritis or they don't have that strength, that this one here, because it's longer, gives you more leverage and such like that.
True.
So the idea is it can be used by everybody and anybody.
I like the fact that it has an arch to it so that when it lays down, I can pick it up easier because sometimes my fingers have a hard time grabbing onto things.
Yes. Again, if a small child with small fingers or somebody who may have arthritis, again, it just becomes a little bit easier to use.
Well, this is great. So tell me, I understand about universal design with this. How does that relate with the aging in home?
Well, just to back up a little bit, if I may, again, I'll use my computer here to cheat a little bit and describe what universal design is. Very simply, it's design that's usable by all people to the greatest extent possible without the need for adaptation or specialized design. And I think that this example kind of shows you what we're talking about. So when we get back to aging in place is really the objective. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to achieve, is to be able to live in our home comfortably and safely. Well, universal design is the tool that gets us to aging in place. So what we'll be talking about and what we'll be looking at and discussing are things that you can do to your home that makes your home more adaptable, but they're all universally designed principles. That makes sense.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the standard of what a home, it used to be or is, and
Very good
this
point.
is what makes it so everybody can use it.
That is a great analogy.
Okay. With my house, the biggest hurdle that I have was getting my mom in and out of the house. Because I have a 1950s home.
Yes.
So we have the 3 steps and then the
Correct.
big threshold.
Correct.
And it's very difficult. And I didn't even think about it when I was moving into the house.
Right. And the first thing, the most important thing, is to make your home livable. Really the first thing you need to address is, how do I get inside my house from the outdoors? And there's a couple different ways you can do that. Depending on how far you are from the lawn to where the floor is. You can either go with a walkway or you could go with a ramp. And it sounds like in your case that you went with the ramp.
Yes.
And there's a lot of guidelines, there's degrees of slope and things like that that you take into consideration. But the idea is that you want to get from the street to the house without at least one entry that does not have any steps in it. And what's nice about that is because whether you're in a wheelchair or whether you use a walker or whether you're a young couple that has a baby in a stroller, the idea of eliminating the steps makes it easy to get to the house. So again, I always like to emphasize that aging in place, everybody associates it with old, with as we get older, but what benefits the older person benefits the younger person as well.
And
Universal.
I probably should have thought about it sooner than when my mom needed it.
Yeah, that's just it. It's very natural for all of us, until it happens, don't worry about it.
Right.
So, and unfortunately, when something does happen, then you're in a panic mode and you're trying to look for every shortcut you can.
Yes.
And if you can address it earlier, then that way it's in place. And the thing is, whether you ever need to use it or not, it's always there, but it just makes it easier to use.
Right.
So when something does happen, it becomes more critical, it's already in place.
So now that I know that, if I knew that beforehand when I was looking for the house, I probably would have bought one with a lower threshold.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's a set of I would like to say that everybody should have a one-level home, but that's not realistic in terms of costs and such like that. But
Right.
that's actually our ideal situation. And given what we can and cannot, what your circumstances are, it's a little bit sometimes easier said than done. But yes, at the very
Yes.
least, if you're looking for something, if you're looking for a home, just the idea to think about it. Okay, you may have some challenges, but if you go in there kind of knowing, well, what to look for or where the challenges are, then it's not saying you're gonna not buy that home, but at least
Yeah.
you'll say, okay, I can do this, I can do that without too much of a cost factor or such like that.
Right, yeah, that would have been made a big difference to me if I would have went in looking with those kind of eyes
Yes.
instead of waiting
yes.
until my mom needed it or maybe I needed it and that. And that brings me to now that, well, we have the ramp, so I can get her in and out.
Wonderful.
But now trying to get her, she has a little walker that she uses in the house, trying to get it in through the doors,
Yes.
especially the bathroom.
Yes, that is very challenging. My mother had that exact same issue, and what I found are there's these hinges called swing hinges that we happen to have.
I bought them because I heard about it, so I bought them.
Wonderful.
Can you tell me about them?
Well, I'll
How to use it?
I'll explain it. I'll just grab one here. But basically, a normal door, if you've got like a 2'4" door or 2'6" door is nominal size. However, when you open up the door, when you take into consideration the hinge, you're going to lose, and then the thickness of the door, you lose up to 2 to 2.5 inches
Yes.
of that space. So instead of having a 2'6" door, you may have a 2'4" door or less, or 2'4" door to 2'2" door. And those 2 inches makes a big difference.
Big difference.
And especially if you have a walker. When my mother was getting in and out with her walker, we had a 2-foot door getting into the bathroom, which was very difficult. But by using these swing hinges, the door was able to open up wide, and she could get in and out with the walker. Now, how this works, I'm not sure, it's kind of hard to explain here, but the idea that if you can imagine, this is where the panel is located here, and then this is where is secured to the jamb. So when you have the door closed, it's like a normal door, but because the hinge is over in this location, when you open up the door, it gets it totally out of the way, so now you've got nothing blocking that door, so you've captured that 2 inches of space again.
Oh, that would make so much more of a difference.
It's really
Yes.
interesting how much space that 2 inches makes.
Yes, definitely. Well, I can't wait to try these out and so I can try to get her into the bathroom with the walker.
Absolutely. It's most helpful, and it's very inexpensive. You can do it yourself. You don't have to hire anybody to do
Okay.
it. And
So they just go right into the holes that are already there from...
it's exactly
Oh,
correct. So
okay.
it doesn't require any kind of specialized training or anything like that.
Cool.
You just take off the old hinges, and those got
on?
three holes for the screws, and the same 3 holes that are on a regular hinge, and you just remove one, put them back in, and you're off and running. And
Wow.
if you're really fast and got an electric screwdriver, you can get it done in 10 minutes.
The other thing, too, about the bathroom is the grab bars.
Yes, yes. The nice thing is that with grab bars that because they're not required in residences like they are in commercial buildings where you have a commercial restroom.
Right.
So what's nice about it is grab bars don't have to look like the institutional grab bars that you see in commercial buildings. However, there are some challenges, especially if you're trying to retrofit, if you're coming in after the fact. And the thing is, you usually want to have a backing, something that you can adhere to, like what they call blocking between the studs and such like that.
Oh.
But you normally, if you're trying to retrofit something that's already existing, it's difficult. But what they have is they have a product, it's called a winglet, and that's kind of a generic term that a lot of different manufacturers make this. But it's actually a device that that you can, when you drill the hole in your wall, and then you insert this device, and then it's with a screw, it opens up in the back. So it provides the strong, secure hold that you need. Because a grab bar supposedly, per the ADA, requires a 250 pounds on it.
Okay.
So by doing that, using the winglet, you will capture that. You have to be careful to look at the brands, of course.
Yeah.
Now, if you're doing a remodeling, you're starting from scratch. You've got the studs open and such like that. Then you have the ability to either put blocking in, or what I will do a lot of times is I will actually put a 1/2 inch of plywood on all the walls where I know where the grab bars are going to go to, and then I put drywall over that. So now I can put that grab bar anywhere I want, at any angle I want. I can do anything I want. And I know that there's going to be a solid surface to secure it to.
I do have a question though about the grab bars. The material that the grab bars are made out of, are some of them real cheap and some are?
Some of them are real cheap. I would definitely advise whatever you choose, go with some that's metal, not the plastic.
Metal,
the plastic
okay.
has a lot, like the PVC piping. It has a lot of play in it. I've seen those.
Okay.
And frankly, they just look ugly.
Okay.
And if you go online and you look at grab bars residential, like say there's so many are attractive, you don't even know that they're grab bars.
Oh, okay.
They're
Sure.
integrated. They look like towel racks. So you can actually hang towels on them.
Oh, that's cool.
They have different shapes and forms. They're very attractive, come in a number of different colors. So
Nice.
it's pretty wonderful, and it doesn't
Nice.
have to look institutionalized, and that's the key
Yeah,
with
that's
residence.
nice.
You want your residence to still look like a residence,
Right.
not like a hospital.
Right, that's true, yeah. And then grab bars, what about grab bars going down your steps too? Or, not grab bars, but they're,
Handrails.
handrails, yeah.
Now, stairs are a different kind of a situation. The greatest cause of accidents leading to death for people over the age of 65 are stairs.
Really?
Yes, stairs are not our friend
Yeah.
at any age, really.
Yeah, right.
But it becomes more difficult. Now, in commercial buildings, you'll notice that there's a handrail on both sides
Yes.
of the stairs. Well, in residence, the code only requires
That's right.
it on one side. So the very simplest thing you can do, again, you can do it yourself, is to add that second handrail. Again, I did this for my mother and at her home. And the thing, what's nice about it is residential stairs are about 3 feet to 42 inches wide. So the thing is, you don't have you don't have to reach to grab them. They're in a comfortable, regardless of your height and build and stuff, it's easy to grab. So by just having that second handrail and being able to use that as a guide, it gives you that much more security as you go up or down the stairs.
Yeah.
So it's very important.
Well, is there standards of how high they're supposed to be?
There are standards, and what I would probably say is, I can sit here and quote you the code, as it's what the height has to be, but actually, the whole idea of aging in place and living in your home as long is you adapt it to your needs.
I am so excited. This has been just a great time. I've enjoyed meeting you. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, again, thank you for having me, and remember, aging in place isn't just for the old, it's for the young as well, so it works for everybody.
That's right.
Senior, whether you're a senior in high school or whether you're a senior in life,
That's great.
aging in place is important for everyone.
That's right. I love that comment. So I'm Auntie Sharon, host of Mary's Eclectic Interests. Thank you for coming by. See you next time.